Birds of Prey and the ridiculously overlong and mildly pretentious movie title is out today, and I'm digging the style DC's got for Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn this time. DC's movies have definitely put visuals first, usually.
I can't wait to show you my toys.
Anyway, as you know, drawing can be difficult, and we're not picking an easy pose for this one. Nonetheless, I know the doodlers are up to it. Doodlers being, you know, those subscribed to the channel, of course. Wait, what? Hold up, almost 90% of you aren't subscribed? Oh, we have to fix this. Didn't you know that if you subscribe to this channel, your drawing skills will amplify overnight? Well, alright, not quite overnight, but you'll definitely learn faster, especially if you hit that bell so you catch every video. Also, hit the like button if you're going to see Birds of Prey this week, and let's swoop into it. So let's start with the head as we usually do. I think a safe way to do this is to draw a circle first. Heads are pretty circular in shape, so a circle's a good place to start. And my circle wasn't very good there, so I'm just going to even that out a little bit. So once you've drawn that, we're going to draw kind of like a semicircle almost, just kind of coming off this to the back and finishing there. So we don't add anything to this side of the circle, we've added a bit to this side. That's basically just going to be her hair. So from there, it's good to draw a guideline down like this to show where half of the face is, and then we can add a chin, and it's just like a soft shape right underneath the head. So things look very messy right now, but don't worry, that's really normal for sketches, and yeah, it's very much a messy process, so feel free to make a real state of things. So we'll draw the shape of the shoulders underneath, and it's at a bit of an angle underneath the head. It's not like a straight line like this, it's a straight line that's going up in an angle. Okay, so from there down towards the waist now, I'm going to draw a line that angles a bit to the side, finishes about here. I'm going to draw another line for the hips, and that's tilted the different ways. It's like it's tilted down like this. And because of the pose from the poster, her hip is kind of like sticking up on this side, so that's a really good place to, a good way to draw that. And now for the legs. Now getting the positioning of the legs is quite tricky, but feel free to slow down the video or pause if you need to get the most of this. So starting here, we're going to draw a guideline that basically just goes straight down and finishes about here. We're just going to draw a small line here to indicate where the floor is. And now the other leg is going to start from this side, and it's going to angle in towards the other leg, but it's going to stop there. I'm going to draw a small circle to show where there's a knee, and I'm going to come down a tiny bit more, draw a circle for a heel, and then angle the rest of the foot like that. So this side is a lot more complicated than this side. This side's just kind of a straight line. It's kind of like a supporting leg, and this leg she's just kind of stepping off it. So now we're going to add a shape for the torso. So coming down from the shoulder, we're going to draw almost like a Z shape that goes out at the chest, in at the waist, and out at the hip. And then this side, we actually don't have to worry too much about the shape on this side, because this is all going to be covered with the kind of ribbons and patterns that she's wearing here. So if you want, we can kind of jump straight into that now. So we can draw a shoulder, and then I'm just going to kind of draw lots of little bits coming down like this. You can have real fun with this. There's no real order to it, because it's a whole mess of different objects and just ribbons just kind of hanging down. They kind of look like wings, I guess, which is very much what she's going for with the whole Birds of Prey thing. So you can just kind of have fun with this and really add to it, and add lots of flicks just kind of coming down out of it. And we may as well do the one on the other side as well. You can really kind of express yourself with this and just go to town adding all those little shapes. Okay, maybe a few that kind of like flick out like she's just moved her arm or something like that. Give it a real sense of motion. And let's not forget to connect the head with a little neck here, just kind of sitting on top of that guideline. So now we've basically got all the guidelines and a little bit of detail in with these wings, I guess you can call them. So you can start adding all the shapes of the body. So the head's already kind of got the shapes, but I think the head is fun to tackle, so we'll go ahead and do that now. So what I think is helpful is to draw another guideline just kind of through like that. We form this kind of cross shape on the face, and that helps us to position the facial features. So right where these lines meet here, I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit just so you can see it a little better. So right here, where these lines meet, we're going to draw a line up and out like that. And that's going to be the top of her eye. Then we'll draw a curve around like this and finish it off with a line underneath for the bottom of the eye, just like that. Okay, so now we need to do the other eye in exactly the same way. We're going to start it here, top of the eye, give it that downward mean looking angle, a curve, and then bottom of the eye, bit of a curve to it like that as well. Now we need to pick a direction for the pupils. I'm going to try and make her look at the viewer. So this pupil needs to be pretty central. I'm going to make it go off the top a little bit, just because it's easy to position. And then this same pupil over here needs to be angled much more to the side, but again, just kind of sitting at the top. And we immediately get this impression that she's looking right at us. She really means business. So now is a good time to draw in the hair. So you can just kind of draw a small parting here, and once you've drawn that, you go to town with the fringe. Draw lots of little flicks and spikes going down over the face. Doesn't matter if you overlap with the eyes. If anything, that's more realistic, so you can go ahead and do that. A few here. Let's draw a little bump here for the ear, just kind of hanging off in that little space between the guidelines there. And we can draw some hair over it. Okay. Now the face is looking a little bit messy. It almost looks like a Canadian from South Park. So we'll just erase this guideline because we actually don't need this one anymore. That was just to help us position the lower jaw a little bit. So I'm just tidying that up for you. You don't need to do that just yet, but if you want your drawing to be a little bit neater at this stage, then go ahead and do that. So we can draw a small nose here, a small bump. There we go. Got that kind of pattern where it just goes down but then flicks out at the end and then comes back. And then a mouth, we're just going to draw a small smile with a little bit at the end just to show that the cheek has creased into a smile. So returning to the hair, we can add some pigtails. So I'm just going to draw some hair that comes out like this and then angles down away from the face in this kind of swooping pattern like this. And of course, with them being pigtails, we need to do one on the other side as well. So give it some thickness, just kind of show it hanging off the side of the head like that. Alright, so I'm going to zoom back out again and move things back into position, because the head is pretty much done in terms of details. Alright, so we can start adding some clothes. Now, first we'll add a small thin neck here, just kind of sitting on top, either side of that guideline that we just drew. So the clothes, we're going to draw a curved line like this down over the chest, and another one over the waist, and it just kind of tucks in behind that wing so we can't see all of it. And now for the top of her shorts or a skirt, I think it's actually a skirt, you can just draw a line across the top of the guideline that we drew for the waist. And then this is the fun part, because we have to get to add some more shape to the body, and this is always tricky, but tricky is fun. So we'll start here at this hip, right here. We're going to curve down like this until we get to about level with this knee joint here. So if you want, you can actually draw another circle there just to show you where the knee is. You get to draw a curve all the way down to this knee, and then you just kind of stop there. And then we'll add another curve on this side, much smaller, but again just kind of drawing out that shape of the thigh. And then again on this side, another curve that follows down, and it just sits outside of that knee joint there. And on this side, we're just going to link these together and stop about there. So now for the shape of the rest of the legs, it gets a little bit tricky here, but hang tight, I'm sure you can manage this. So we'll draw it out a little bit for the calf before coming back in along the guideline. And on the other side, again, out a bit for the calf and back in for the ankle. And we've got this space down here, but we'll deal with this in just a moment. So we've got this calf here. It comes out from behind that thigh and wraps around behind where the heel's going to be. And this one is a little less pronounced because of the way the leg's bending, and it finishes just about near that thigh there. So we can add the rest of the skirt now. You can just kind of give it a bit of a wave so it looks like she's actually moving. If you draw it too static, it won't have that kind of sense of motion going on. So you want to make sure it's got a bit of a curve to it, maybe some rips as well, because that's how it looks in the poster. Okay, and now for the feet. Now the feet are not easy, but again, I'm going to walk you through it. Feel free to pause the video if you need any extra time to catch up. I'm used to drawing at a certain speed, so I apologize if I go too fast. So right now we're just going to basically draw two basic shapes. We're going to draw almost like a triangle that comes down from the ankle, and then in front of that we're going to draw another triangle, and then it loops out in front like that over the shape that we drew for the floor. Okay, so that's because this foot is pointing directly towards us, and this is a really good cartoony way to draw this. So then we'll start with the other foot. We've got a heel to draw, and we'll just kind of follow this shape down towards the ground and give it a bit of an inward curve like this. So it looks like she's got a bit of a swagger to her walk. Maybe she's leaning a little bit as she's coming towards you. And this line here curves down as if it's touching the floor. It curves across rather. But we've got this space here for the heel. Alright, so let's draw in the boots. Now nice and simple, we can just draw around the shin like this, give it a bit of a curve so it really looks like it's actually wrapping around the calf, around the shin. Okay, And pretty much simple as that. There's a little bit of detail actually here at the front where it all connects. That's the front of the leg over there. And down towards the front. And there we go. So we'll tackle the rest of those details later, but I'm more interested in getting all the body features down. So we kind of got the hands to do now. So if you imagine the arm coming down underneath this wing, we can start a hand about here. So draw a wedge shape here, and then we'll draw 3 lines coming out of it. These are basically the fingers. So we end up with this kind of stick hand, and all we have to do is add some flesh to this. So we'll follow it along, and we'll thicken out the fingers one by one. So 1, 2, 3. And I'm drawing 3 fingers because I feel like cartoons generally look better with 3 fingers rather than 4, and it just kind of gives you, I don't know, a bit more freedom to kind of play around with it. It reminds you that it's not a super realistic drawing, so you don't have to worry about getting things completely perfect with the way the fingers are spaced out in this drawing. So here, this is a tough part. I think it's best to draw the hammer first and then place the hand on the hammer. Or rather, plan things out with the hammer first and then place the hand. So I'll show you what I mean. So we need the hammer to be resting along this shoulder, going behind her head and over here. If you want, you can use a ruler to get this right, to get this line as straight as possible, but I'm pretty satisfied with the way I drew that handle there. And at the end, obviously, we've got this big rectangle, which we're going to turn into the actual head of the mallet. I've actually drawn that a bit too far up, so I'm going to bring that down. There we go. And now the hand. Where is her hand going to be? Is it going to be here at the end? Is it going to be over here? Don't know how she's going to reach over there. Let's place it around here. So I think it's a good place to start. If we draw a circle where we want the hand to be, and once you've planned where the hand and the shoulder are, I've already got a shoulder over here, the arm is easiest to draw that way. If you've got a hand and shoulder in place, there's only so many places that the rest of the arm can go. Now mercifully, in this drawing, we've got an arm that only comes down to about here, and then it goes behind the feathers. So now we can go ahead and draw the hand and get that bit out of the way. So a good way to do this, I think, is with this circle in mind, we can draw a thumb that curves around and across the shape that we drew for the handle of the hammer like that. Just a little nub that kind of sticks out like that. And with that in place, we can draw the 3 fingers resting over it like this. I'm going to draw 1, 2, and 3. And these are quite short because they're folded over the shape of the hammer that they're holding. And we can just kind of draw the rest of the hand here if you like, and bring it down into an arm that gets hidden behind this kind of feathery thing that she's wearing. I don't really know what that is. I think it's wings. I'm going to go with wings. I haven't actually, seen the film yet, but I like the design, so I thought I'd go ahead and draw it. So now we can give this hammer a bit of a thickness because this handle is very, very short. So we're just going to do that. We're going to add some thickness to it, draw it so it looks like it's snugly sat inside of that hand, but also resting over the shoulder. So it's not super easy. But if you've been watching this channel for a while, it's probably easier for you than most folks. You learn quickly on this channel, I know you guys do. So with the rest of the hammer, we need to draw a line over this, just like that, and a line on this side, an equal distance from that as it is from that. And we end up with this space in the middle that we have to fill in with diamond shapes. Now here's a great way to draw this. You can basically draw a zigzag pattern from one side to the other like this. And then you draw a zigzag pattern that goes the other way and crosses over those lines. And straight away you've got that super easy way of drawing those diamonds. If you want a bit of perspective, you can add a small kind of disc shape to this side. And there we go, that hammer is immediately looking way more 3D, but make sure you curve the top like this if you do add that sort of disc shape to that side. There is a small part here where the hammer connects. You're going to add that little bit of detail in. And in terms of details, we've got some stars along the belt here. So if you want to add those, go right ahead and add those now. This is the point for all the polish. So if you feel like the drawing's missing anything from the costume, this is a great time to add it. I'm going to add some stripes down over the skirt. I've rested on the fact that this is probably a skirt. It kind of looks like denim shorts, like jorts, but I think it's actually meant to be a skirt. So I'm going to go with that. There's also some red X's going down this side as well. So yes, I'd say our sketch of Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is actually done at this stage. So I'm going to go over this and refine the lines and make sure everything looks nice and polished. You don't have to go over any of the guidelines, so we can get rid of these guidelines here. We don't need those anymore. Those are just pesky and making a mess of things and in the way now that we've used them for what they need to be used for. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to grab my grab my inking tool. You grab your Sharpie, and I'll see you in just a few moments. So, how's yours looking? Don't worry if it takes a few tries to get something right. Like I said, we did not pick an easy pose this time, but that's okay. You only learn by challenging yourself. If you'd like some feedback on your artwork, hit up the Discord channel by clicking the link below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let me know what I should draw next. Until next time.